one little tip I learned.
Walk away. Catherine's my birthday. Yes, you can write your birthday.
No, I'm not allowed.
No,
Well,
you're
and I
not.
can appreciate, like, I can imagine anyone that kind of doesn't know this kind of stuff.
It was December
Any type of worship or someone that's working on it, like, I can imagine they would, like, I was like, I'm sitting from listening to Joe, kind of thing to feel that space, just because I realized, like, how discouraging that can be, in a sense, to have everyone else, like, so.
There you go. I always love this song. Halfway out of the dark.
Yeah. Though, is the chairs a trade-off? It sounds like they gotta be more comfortable, especially the back house like this, they're curved.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, they would collapse.
It's just you.
We had to do a lot of, you know,
Like snag and
temporary fixes.
Fair enough.
All right, surprised them all.
Are they doing celebration like today?
So surprising, just because initially we had like no interest in it, like this kind of slowly started to go, and then eventually, like right before we're like, oh, maybe throw away the last. Because they were the biggest ones, like we're really close to winning it.
So
No, it was just hard not to get.
if you've been here since we've had not fixed pews but actual chairs, these are the same chairs.
That's one congregant that took some.
They might be
organization
arranged.
that took some prepared projects. We got one.
Yeah, I think that it's the way that Steve set them up, just a little bit of
I didn't table kind of thing. They did it as like a, you know, C. You know, in a sense, like it was like kind of like in a sense, you know.
doing all right. How are you?
So
Let's just see this one.
so that
back.
was kind of
Hanging around.
I imagine half the time.
No, actually, somebody just gave these.
I love your sweater.
Thank you.
That was just
It's like the last one and I can like pull it off the other way.
well, you know, on TV you watch, they have the ugly Christmas sweater. That's not ugly. I've never seen one. That looks great. I'm glad you wore it.
Appreciate it. Rabbi John. But to you.
Wow.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. And Happy New Year.
How you doing?
This is the best day of my life.
Yeah, I got like 4 minutes.
Have you guys met, by the way?
No, I haven't.
This is Marilyn.
Pleasure to meet you.
Jeremy, yeah?
Benjamin.
Benjamin, but there was a Hi there. Oh, I'm sorry. There was another name.
They're good. They're Susan told me.
Well, we've been like,
Justin
Justin is government.
So
I have somebody.
Well, it's you know, the whole idea about like tacky quick Christmas sweater day. So, you know, like some of the Jewish knitters have kind of
No, you can prefer it.
gotten on board with that concept. Or buying out there.
Yeah, you know, but
You know, that's rather
family members
the
are
thing. I've seen the ones where like they actually pull out the menorah on the chest where the lights up and things like that. You know, like everything in between.
all right, Justin.
That was always the chair we used when we did.
You know, so
People get their joy when they get their food, right?
I guess it's like,
I hear that.
I don't know.
what kind of feeling?
That means actually actively disrespecting the flag. We're being really like.
I don't know why that is. I don't know. Anyway, it's
I don't know about you,
interesting,
but
but
everybody else.
you don't mind.
Especially if it's fun.
Is she really now?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. What a pleasure to see you on this night, this last Shabbat of this secular year. Please welcome one another. Take a look around. If you see someone whom you hadn't met before, they may or may not be members of the synagogue. They may or may not be new to our sanctuary, but get to know one another. During the course of the service or after the service, we have oneg. Welcome on this beautiful day of rest. You were ready, sorry. We're going to vamp a little more. The microphones are wonderful, and they are a little tricky.
And it got a little bit tangled. There we go.
There.
A nigun, a melody just to kind of gather us together in this space. Yai yada dai lai lai yada dai lai yada dai lai yada dai lai lai yada dai lai 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 yada dai lai lai yada dai lai yada dai lai yada dai lai lai yada dai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai yada lai 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 yada lai lai yada lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai la la lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai la la lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai la la lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai yada lai 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 yada lai lai la la lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai yada lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai lai.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, who are here, you who are here in the sanctuary, you who are joining us online. We're so grateful to have you here on this Friday evening that is cold, but not as cold as it was last Friday, I think. Tonight we have worship from our prayer book, which you can find here in the book cart if you happen to be in the sanctuary, and if you're online, you can click on the flipbook version link, which, you know, tonight is the last night we get to use that flipbook version link, because that's going to disappear as of Monday, or maybe even Sunday. So we're going to find some alternatives to help us with the prayer book. And there's also a link for our program tonight, which I hope you all have a copy here of in the sanctuary. And online, you can just click on that link and you can see our program for tonight.
So we'll be turning in a moment, and just now actually into our supplement, and I need to figure out what page
I'll tell you.
we need it
I'll get that.
from.
Page 4.
Page 4 in our supplement. This is a melody that I've been introducing at various moments in this space, probably since right before the High Holy Days, with a beautiful poem written by the late Stacy Zizek Robinson that is about us gathering together to bless the source of blessing. And that's what we get to do when we are here in a space like this. So if you know parts of it, feel free to join in. If you don't yet, but you do at some point, feel free to jump in whenever you're moved to do so. Do 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 do. Once more, do 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 Come, come all of you, come all of us, and let's one. Let's come, come all of you, come all of us, and let's one. Let's is do 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 do. Blessed is the blessed one, blessed is the giver of blessing, blessed in this moment now and every now to come. Blessed is the blessed one, blessed is the giver of blessing, blessed in this moment now and every now to come. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come, come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Do 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 do. Ruchot habaot tachat kanfei השכינה. ברוכים הבאים תחת כנפי השכינה. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come, come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses.
Shabbat Shalom and happy secular New Year tomorrow evening. We find ourselves once again at this liminal moment in time. For those of you who might have taken Latin in school, the word limens means threshold, and so we label this approaching day as a liminal moment where we mark our passing from one era to the moment. You know, tomorrow, Saturday, Shabbat, except for the fact that it's Shabbat, will be pretty much the same as Sunday. Hopefully the weather will be better on Sunday than on Saturday. But we advance from one solar year to the next, and for some reason we adapt that as part of our culture, and we say, well, something new is going to happen on Sunday. All the thresholds in our lives, these are artificial boundaries, and yet we humans sometimes like to have markers in time. We have birthdays, we have years. In Jewish practice, we have 4 different years that help mark the time of Jewish time. But regardless how we mark them, regardless of how we consider them, every one of those boundaries is a great time to say, What can we do that's new in the new year to make that next era in our lives better? So crossing that boundary may seem artificial, but still with the, you'll pardon the expression, with the resolutions that we make, we can make those years special. May we indeed live to see all of our potentials fulfilled, and may we continue to establish a year of peace for us all. I want to invite you to turn to page 120 in the prayer book as we thank God for the blessings of light on this Shabbat day. Dear God, we thank you for the blessings of light. Even as the darkness consumes us on this evening, we know that tomorrow will be a brighter day for us as individuals, for us as the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
On page 127 in the prayer book, we offer this, our own beginning of our invoking this day of Shabbat for us. Page 127, we offer this together as a congregation. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand and wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. On page 131.
So, friends, we're entering a new year. It seemed appropriate to think about that sense of renewal and newness. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. I want to bring you all this melody. If you are curious, at some point you can find in the program, in the supplement, some information about the folks who wrote this melody. They're actually friends, Shani Ben Or and Boaz Dorot. Shani Ben Or recently became the first person in Israel, in the Israeli progressive movement, to be ordained as both a rabbi and a cantor. And so she and Boaz, her music writing partner, wrote this melody, and I wanted to bring it to you all, maybe for it to carry us into this new year. So we'll do a little bit at a time, and we'll build it up together. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. We're going to try that together. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. You got it. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Next line. Shiru Ladonai Baruch Shemo. Your turn. Adonai Baruch Shemo Basru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato Basru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato. Let's try just all of that, those first four lines. Shir Adonai Shir Chadash Shir Adonai Kol Haaretz Shir Adonai Baruch Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Next part goes like this. Sapru vagoyim kevodo. Try that. Sapru vagoyim kevodo. בכל העמים נפלאותיו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו. כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. Let's try this from Sapru Vagoyim Kivodo. Fifth line. Sapru Vagoyim Kivodo. בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שיר לאדוני, שיר לאדוני, שיר חדש, שיר לאדוני כל הארץ, שיר לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו הגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שיר לאדוני שיר חדש, לאדוני כל הארץ, לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו הגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שיר לאדוני שיר חדש, שיר לאדוני כל הארץ, שיר לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו.
New songs for new times. Thank you, Cantor. We'll come back to that, I hope, at some point. I know we will. Absolutely. We want to invite you to turn to page 138. We continue Kabbalat Shabbat, our welcoming of Shabbat, with Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, v'shem u'tiferet, v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'neilcha, yihi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat Kabbalah. Hidoreri, Hidoreri, Kiva Orech, Kumi Ori, Uri Uri, Shir Daberi, Kevod Adonai, Alaich Nigla, Lecha Dodi, Nikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lecha Dodi, Nikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalah. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha uvetzola. Toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi, Nikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalah. Lecha Dodi, Nikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalah. B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalah.
On page 140, we continue with Tov Lehodot, a prayer, a psalm of thanks for the things that we have on this Shabbat day and always.
Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagi baboker, baboker chastecha, ve'emunatcha baleilot, baleilot. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ale asor, va'ale navel, ale higayon, bechinor, bechinor. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ulzamer l'shimcha elyon.
Ma'ariv is the name of the service that we have on any evening, really. And it is the mixing of the daytime and the evening that we thank God for, because it's a sign of the regular cycles of day and night and dark and light we have on this earth. And when we offer our prayers, may our prayers be pleasing on this night and always, because they are spoken with sincerity. May our prayers be pleasing because they are uttered in humility. May our prayers be pleasing because they are offered in gratitude. May our prayers be pleasing because they reflect not only our own needs, but also the needs of others. And may our prayers now and always be pleasing because they remind us of what God expects of us and also what we should be expecting of ourselves. Ma'ariv begins on page 146 in our Sidurim. We invite everyone to rise for Baruch Hu, a call to worship.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
On page 149 at the top, we read together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
Amen. On page 150, at the middle of the page, we also continue together. Everlasting love you offer your people, Israel, by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen. Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue at the top of 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We offer these prayers for the love of Torah because they tell us how to perhaps act a little bit and how to think internally. But then we have the challenge of translating all of those thoughts into actions. And those are the actions of a free people. And so we ask, what can we do? We can talk out when others have to be silent. We can say humanity when others say money. We can say love when others might say hate. We can say everyone when others only speak for themselves. We can stay up when others are asleep. We can work when others have stopped to play. We can give life meaning when others demean it. What can we do when others refuse themselves to life, we give ourselves to life. We continue with Mi Chamocha on page 158.
Yai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar v'kodesh. Nora,
Nora,
tehilot, oseh, eleh, Nora, tehilot, oseh, eleh, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, ukei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam zeri, anu ve'ameru, Adonai, imloch, leolam, va'ed, Adonai, imloch, leolam, va'ed, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Hashkivenu is a prayer that we offer only at nighttime, and it is a prayer of divine protection. It is a prayer that says, even though the light is gone, we know that God, our community, our friends, our family, they are looking over us. They are looking out for us. And so we offer Hashkivenu on this night with thinking that as we pass into this new year, indeed, that we hope that our friends and family and God still looks out for us in these new times. Page 160, I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's all good. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. 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 Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Dear God, as the sun has now descended beyond the horizon and we begin this day of rest, we ask you for protection, you who help make us creative human beings, we who help you create the world every day. May you look over us, may you look after our muscles and our tissues and our cells that stand to serve humanity. May you care for the mind and for the passions that bring us to our tasks in the world. And will you please guard us as we travel along life's pathways. May our rest be pleasing in your sight, and may we rise again tomorrow to serve you, our Creator, and to further serve humanity as we all develop ourselves into people who are growing bigger and better and more godlike every day.
Ushmor Tzeitenu Uvoenu L'chaim u'shalom Me'ata ve'adolam Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
I'd like to invite us to think about the last time that someone did something for us or gave something to us. And I'm sure that our response was thank you, because that's just what we do. The issue of gratitude is something that is important in our lives. It is something that we think that we do very easily, but still we have to remind ourselves to take our gratitude that we feel towards someone who offers us a gift and to then turn that around and create new generosity from our heart to others. In a way, I think people call that paying it forward, but it really is a way that we say to one another that we are looking out for one another. When we offer these prayers, when we offer the tefillot of Ma'ariv, we are indeed thanking God and offering gratitude for God and imagining what we can do to make the world a better place. Our tefillah begins now on page 164, and although I won't give you a verbal cue to enter rise, which again, if you would like to rise, please join us for the tefillah, but you might have a sense of when that time is.
We'll greet this melody as an old friend now. Adonai, Svatai Tivtach, Fi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, Svatai Tivtach, Fi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, Svatai Tivtach, Yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, Svatai tivtach, Yagid tehilatecha.
Page 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasarim Tovim Ve'Konei Ha'akol V'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
66.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Page 170.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
If you would like, you may be seated. Our tefillah continues silently. And before, when we were speaking about taking our gratitude and turning it into generosity, I was thinking to myself, that is an act of human alchemy, if you will, because it's taking something that wasn't there before and it's really transforming it. During silent prayer, we do something similar. We take our prayers, which sometimes remain silent, and we turn them into action. And it's that action, too, that will help make the world better. We continue silently through page 180, and I think we'll meet you there at the conclusion of our tefillah b'lachash, of our silent prayer.
עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ועל כל ישראל, אמן.
Shabbat Shalom. There is a high probability that, regardless of where we are in the next 36 hours, or where we find ourselves in the next 36 hours, somehow, through some medium, we will hear the music and or the words of a song that is titled Auld Lang Syne. Now, originating a few hundred years ago in Scotland and then spreading throughout the British Commonwealth, the song, if you really bother to listen to the lyrics, which are hard because they're not always in American English, the song bemoans the fact that years pass and we forget our acquaintances made a long time ago. The title, Auld Lang Syne, literally seems to mean old long since, or perhaps loosely translated, for the sake of old times. I got that from my daughter, who has taken Welsh, and she knows how to speak Celtic and Irish as well a little bit. Maybe she's learning Scottish. But it's contrasted with the message of that song, where, yes, it's too bad that we forget people and we sort of then move on to the next year. In the Torah portion for this week, Vayigash, here in the Torah portion we find Joseph, right, one of the sons of Jacob, who is now the grand vizier of Egypt. He's number 2. Not only has he not forgotten his family, he doesn't want to forget his family. Even though as a wealthy and powerful bureaucrat, a Joseph who manages all the royal lands and busily serves as Pharaoh's assistant, after assimilating into society in Egypt with a very well-connected wife and 2 children whom he originally hoped to rear in that society, this week in Vayigash, he's confronting his brothers, and he eventually reveals himself to his brothers. And we hear in his voice, which we'll hear in a moment, a yearning for the renewal of his personal family ties and a reawakening of his relationship with his brothers and his father. Now again, if you take a look at page 5 of the supplement, and you can just look briefly at it right now, but you will hear plainly in this dialogue between Joseph and his brothers what I'm talking about. Joseph can no longer control himself before his brothers and all the people who are attending him, and he cries out, "Have everyone withdraw from me." Joseph he's so emotionally wrought up here. And he cries out so profusely that not only could all the Egyptians in all the land of Egypt hear, according to Torah, but even Pharaoh, who doesn't concern himself with many things. He's sort of a god, you know, but even Pharaoh hears it. And then Joseph offers up the reveal. Joseph says to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still well?" Now, this disclosure obviously did not register with his brothers, according to the Torah, because, as it says in the Torah, because of all the emotions of the moment, and likely because it wasn't easy for this ragtag group of migrants to speak to Egypt's second in command. Joseph understands then the power of this moment and how it's making an impression upon his brothers. And so he decides to repeat a question, but it's a softer approach. He asks his brothers to approach him, come nearer. And when they are likely, at a more intimate distance, he says, "Hey, I am your brother Joseph, the one whom you sold into slavery toward Egypt." Now, that language was perhaps unnecessarily accusatory. But that was the last time they had seen one another. And perhaps the brothers needed that kind of a shock to remember that indeed this was their brother. Joseph had to awaken some kind of emotion in them to bring them to that time. Now, I, as a rabbi, would hope normally that speech and intention would be of a more softer and more delicate nature, regardless of whether we are speaking within our family or not. But as we all know, family relationships can be rocky and uncertain. And I think it is what we do and the way that we connect and tease out our familial relationships that could lead us to easier relationships and better times. So on the cusp of this new secular year, I do think about our family connections and the desire for re-engaging. Now, if there are family relationships that need healing, how do we affect that healing? And even when there are no specific blood relationships among people, how do we still affect a healing and wholeness between people regarding their relationships? Here's where I'm going with all of this. An article appeared in the New York Times at the beginning of December. That's a time when many, it's between Thanksgiving and these New Year holidays that we celebrate around this time, it's a time when many are indeed thinking about family reunions and relationships, either reunions and relationships that were nice or reunions and relationships that may not have gone so well. This particular piece in the paper was an article about something that the author called kinless seniors. What is a kinless senior? It is one who lives in our midst but has no immediate family members to provide necessary assistance if it is needed. And so I consider these people in society, for whatever reason, as people who need our attention from us. For whatever reason, they are not connected to the family members or the community around them, and they need our care and our concern. Now, the size of that population is growing in our country because people are childless. Some people become or are spouseless. Some people are part of this baby boomer generation who are dissolving their relationships, either because of divorce or because of death or because of whatever. But the number of people who are becoming kinless people is growing, and we need to address this growth of people who are alone in our community. This is a very vulnerable group, and so it makes me think about them, especially as we change over to this new year. I also think about an encounter that I had recently with someone whom we might consider kinless, someone without children, without a partner, without a spouse, living far from siblings. Having lived alone for most of their life, it has always been their tendency to live independently and fiercely and lovingly, and to face each day with the challenges of living alone. This independence, however, has also led them to a life of few friends, and some of those have died or moved away, reducing the number of people upon whom this person can depend. So even though one might think that this person could ask friends for help, that is not always the case. Further, as this individual has developed some health problems that affect their life, they have a degenerative nervous system condition. They have evidence of severe cognitive decline, and they have severe spinal and muscle pain issues. In short, this formerly self-sufficient person has become more and more dependent upon others for their care. Yet this person needs those others when they're not always able to attend to them. For all practical effect, this one person is kinless and alone and needs the warmth and truth of friends and family to help. And I might have had one encounter with this person, but this person's dilemma is replicated in every community, in every city in the world. And it is essential that each one of us who is able to discover the talent and the skills within, we need to reach out to those people in our community who fit this description and to make sure that they know that they are not alone. Now, they may not be a member of our nuclear families, and they may not even be a member of our individual communities, but they are members of the human family, and they need us. Our ability and our willingness to care for the physical and medical conditions of our kinless seniors will do more than heal and make whole from all those physical ailments. The New York Times article that I mentioned cited a July survey from this past July. It was a Canadian study, really, of older adults, and they found that people without partners or children have lower levels of physical and mental health than those who do have partners or children. In addition, our interacting with these kinless members of our community then will stave off loneliness as well. And whether we're talking about helping with physical illness and ailment, or whether we're talking about emotional ailment or true loneliness when it happens, these are things that we can indeed help with. Now, ironic as this may sound, our tradition sometimes has praised and elevated loneliness and solitude as ways of distancing ourselves from evil. A commentary by Rabbeinu Bachia, writing from the 13th century Spain, he complimented the prophets of Israel for being people who separate themselves from sins and transgressions and theft and violence. But even when it separated these prophets from society as a whole, the prophets were not always successful. But Bachia says this brings one closer to God. Now, our tradition, however, of course, recognizes the importance of companionship and community. In the Talmud, in the tractate called Ta'anit, which means fasting, there is a brief phrase. It's 2 words in Aramaic, and it says, it's 4 words in Aramaic, and it's translated as companionship or death. The rabbis who wrote that have a very stark choice placed before us. Later commentators have said that a person without a friend is like a left hand without a right. Finally, Rabbi Yonah of Gurondi has said that all of us need friends and companions, especially those, he writes, who are on the pathway toward reconciliation and repentance, because if you have 2 people who are repenting with one another, they can speak to their companion about their mutual levels of past sinfulness. They can rebuke each other, and they can save each other from further sin. But perhaps the most telling part of our tradition, and the most important thing I think that reminds us about the importance of being with people, is from the creation story in chapter 2 of Genesis, which sums up an attitude that we all should consider. In Hebrew, lo tov heyot adam levado. In English, it is not good for the human being to be alone. And it is from this approach of our tradition to our understanding the personal and societal costs of loneliness that brings me to offer this as perhaps a New Year's resolution to us. Because of all the problems we face in the world, whether it's the state of Israel and the change of government there and those challenges, whether it is our individual health problems, and we have plenty of them, even in this room tonight and being with us online, I'm sure. Even though we have issues that we know about, there are issues among people that we don't really have a handle on, because those acquaintances who are kinless, these are our temple acquaintances who may sit next to us in a sanctuary like this, who may be across the table from us at the Oneg Shabbat. We may see them on the Zoom screens of our meetings. And we need to turn them into our friends, even though they may not have thought about that in the past. Even when we're not here in the building, we can turn them into our friends. As to addressing the challenge of kinlessness in our nation, experts point to other solutions: co-housing, shared housing, expanded and revised family leave benefits from your jobs that give perhaps kin, and even those who aren't kin technically, can provide more time off to attend to the need of those who are kinless. And even perhaps provide time to volunteers who will step forward and serve someone just because they need it. Something needs to be done to address this increase in kinlessness, to seek those who are among us who need to reconnect with our society and their community, and to encourage the community to reach back to them and provide for their needs. As the author of the New York Times piece implies, the size of the kinless community will increase in the future, and long-term solutions need to be found now for individuals' needs and for the benefit of society. And so what we do in the new year for those in our community with such needs and even those who lie outside of our community, all of that sets a pattern that brings people closer together. And isn't that what our world is all about? Joseph, in this Torah portion this week, wanted dearly to reconnect with his family and thereby closing the chain of family and community for them. And in fact, his two sons become now two tribes in Israel. So does Joseph now reintegrate himself with his family. But may we, in our day, find a way to bring us closer to one another, to sustain the ties among us, and to make ties with those who are kinless among us, and to bring each one of us and each one of them health and happiness and peace in this new year, starting tomorrow night and in the years to come. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch Tiyeh. We'd like to invite you to turn to page 371 in the prayer book. On this page, we find a prayer of healing and wholeness for those people among us who need it, some that we know about and some we may not know about, but all those people who are dear in our hearts and who need these prayers from our hearts. On our Temple Bethel healing list, there are people, perhaps around 80 or so, who are our continuing concern. And there may be people in this sanctuary tonight and people who are online as well with us who need our specific care, concern, and prayers. If you are online, would like to add your loved one's name, even if it's their Hebrew name, so it maintains a certain level of privacy, you may do so in the video comments. And if you are here with us in the sanctuary tonight, you may add a name tonight as I offer you the opportunity to do so. Again, aloud or in our hearts, you may name those who are facing illness and pain. And so we invite you to offer names now of people for whom you are concerned and people for whom you wish to offer a prayer of healing. Rav Miriam Bat David. Ruth Bat David. On page 371, we go to the middle of the page.
Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We continue on page 123 as we offer Kiddush on this Erev Shabbat, thanking God for the sanctity and the beauty of this day of rest. Page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemaaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikraei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
L'chaim.
Chaim.
Our worship continues on page 586 with Aleinu. We invite you to rise. Again, page 586 at the top of the page.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. We continue together on page 591. Please join one another at the top of the page. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We invite you to turn to page 594 as we offer a meditation before the Kaddish. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24 and each moment then. In the faces of men and women I see God, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, for I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. At this sacred moment, we call to mind those who passed away in recent days, and those whose Yartzeiten occur at this time. If you are present tonight observing a Yartzeit or in mourning, we invite you to rise as the name of your loved one is recited, and then together we will rise together in consolation to offer mourners Kaddish. Please don't feel obligated to rise, but we invite you to do so. These are the individuals who passed away in recent days with connections into our Temple L community. We remember Edith Lurie Orenberg, sister-in-law of Alan Orenberg, and we remember Bob Brower, father of Aaron Brower. And these are the Yartzeiten that we observe at this time in continuing dedication to their names and to their thoughts and their love. We remember tonight and this week Adolf Adler, Roger Anderson, Alfred Bernstein, Ethel Bonner, Arthur Breslow, Evelyn Brodsky, Alfred R. DiTullio, Herzliya DeVere, Simcha DeVere, Shulamit Elkayam, Paula Etzkin Fitzer, Sidney E. Frank, Deborah K. Friedman, Belle G. Friedman, Helene Gantz, Richard Guilford, Estelle Goldenberg, Ken Herr, Carolyn Kaplan, Ralph Castle, Sue Knudsen, Francis Cook, the Rebbetzin Hannah Levitan, Midge Loring, Dr. Peter Mazer, Frank M. Melnick, Frank J. Maria, Jean R. Nemshoff, Mabel Pizer, Ruth Ravitch, Esther Reitman, Odessa Ring, Millie Ross, Leah Segal, Marion Scheibel, Wendy Schwartz, Herman Shapiro, Richard Yale Shulkin, Deborah Sukny, Morris F. Swed, Robert Elmer Vlach, Joseph H. Wolf, Jane Wallman, Maria Zolin. There are members of this worship community here with us tonight who similarly may be remembering someone whose name was not on the Kaddish list, but still you hold their memory in your heart. And so if you would like, we invite you to add names to this Kaddish list if you would like. Others that we remember? Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be blessings in our hearts and the hearts and minds of all those who knew and loved them. Testifying then to the faith that binds the generations of humanity together, we now invite you to turn to page 598, and as a community we invite you to rise and to offer with one another the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Page, again, 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah bevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei Tevel, ve'imru. Amen. May God send peace to all who mourn and comfort those who are bereaved. And we say amen. Amen. Please be seated. Our service is about to conclude, and when it does, we have a sweet payoff, and that is we have an Oneg Shabbat tonight, sponsored by the Temple Beth El Sisterhood, our Women of Reformed Judaism, to whom we are very grateful. So please join us in the Weinstein Community Court for some good, sweet things and for some companionship building with one another. A very good secular New Year to you all. Thank you to the staff of Temple Beth El, who allows us to provide for such wonderful worship here. Thank you to my Bema partner, Cantor Jacob Namey, for being such a great Bema partner and our tremendous cantor. Thank you so very much. Thank you to you all who came out tonight. Let's see. Tomorrow morning there will be Torah study at 9 a.m., both in person and online, if I'm not mistaken. So you can check out online access, or you can be here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to study with Perry Asher. Sunday is the 1st of January. It is a new secular year. May you all have safe celebrations. If that is your mode of celebration tomorrow night, be safe. Monday, January 2nd, our offices are closed because it's an observance of the national holiday, New Year's Day. Let's see, next Friday evening, there will be a pre-Shabbat Nash at 5:30 p.m., and Shabbat services will take place at 6 p.m. It will be Shabbalala, which is an intergenerational great service of fun for those who are older, those who are younger, however you count yourself. We invite you to come and join us for that. That service lasts about an hour, and please then enjoy your own style of oneg, your own style of joy afterward. And of course, there will be Torah study a week from tomorrow as well, 9 o'clock, led by Steve Olson on that day. Our next bar mitzvah here at Temple Beth El will be Nathan Goff, the son of Tiz Inchak and Peter Goff. So be sure to join us on Saturday, Shabbat morning, January 28th, 10:30 in the morning for that. I want to offer a few things. First of all, we are beginning now serious recruitment for our trip to Israel, which is coming up in begins the second week in June. Sounds as though from people I've spoken with, we have about half the slots filled, at least half of the minimum number of slots filled. We can take a lot more. So if anybody really has an interest and you think you can deal with all the travel and all the walking that Israel, it's not that strenuous, but it does require, some good strength. And so please talk to me, talk to Cantor Namey. We both have the privilege of leading this tour next June. So along with a very licensed tour guide who will meet us in Israel. So please talk with us. Also, Shabbat mornings, the third Shabbat morning of every month, we have Tefillat Shabbat for our community. We have Shabbat morning worship for our whole community. Please come and join us for an informal service that takes place most of the time here in our sanctuary. There may be some facilities times where we have to go somewhere else, but please come and join us for a very informal day. That's going to be Saturday morning, January 21st. If you want to help lead worship, if you want to help read Torah,
there are many, many opportunities to be involved in leading and creating this experience together, and also many opportunities to learn how to do some of those things if you are interested, whether it is leading part of a service if you're not quite ready to lead an entire service, or learning to chant a little bit of Torah. Many ways to become involved, and we are very excited to support people growing into some of those ways of being involved in community.
It is designed to be a lay-led service, and again, as the cantor just said, we're there to support, we're there to teach, we're there to guide. So, and it's very informal. We sit in a circle, we take this amud, this lectern down to that floor level, and we read Torah within the circle. It's very lovely. And there's food at 10 o'clock. I forgot to mention that. The worship begins at 10:30, but there's bagels and cream cheese and coffee here at 10. So come for that, too. Come for it all. Come for it all and enjoy.
So I want to actually invite everyone for a moment, just briefly, to turn back to page 132 in the prayer book. We're going to be coming to a close here. I realized that when we were offering this new melody for Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, sing a new song to God, that the translation's on the next page, so you might not have seen it. And I wanted just to draw our attention to what those words actually were that we were singing then. Sing to Adonai, sing to God, a new song, all the earth, blessing that divine name, that source of goodness, and declaring that glory, that splendor amongst the entire world, amongst all of creation. So we're going to go back now to page 131, and try to carry this song, this new song, into the new year. See how much we remember from, I don't know, about an hour ago, something like that. We'll try. We'll do it a couple of times. We'll get it, let it get into our bones a little bit. Shir l'Adonai, shir chadash, shir l'Adonai kol haaretz, shir l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom le'yom yeshuato. Shir l'Adonai one more time. Shir l'Adonai, shir chadash, L'Adonai kol haaretz, shir l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom le'yom yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol ha'amim nifle'otav, ki gadol Adonai u'mehulal me'od. No rahu al kol Elohim. Shir l'Adonai shir chadash, shir l'Adonai kol haaretz, shir l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom le'yom yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol ha'amim le'otav, ki gadol Adonai u'mehulal me'od. No rahu al kol Elohim. Shir l'Adonai shir chadash, shir l'Adonai kol haaretz, shir l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom le'yom yeshuato. Basru miyom le'yom yeshuato.
Shabbat Shalom and a very good secular New Year to you all. Shabbat Shalom.
So you got New Year's plans?